I work with runners of all abilities, from Olympians through to first-time petrified runners. The Human Race Pace Series is made up of 3 different events. Before you start the Human Race Pace Series, there's a few things you can do. You can pop along to the website www.humanrace.co.uk, and there's a whole bunch of pacing tips so that you can start the events armed with some great ideas for getting your pace right. Also on the day, there's pace timing mats regularly spread throughout the event, and then after the event, in a post-race email, you get some feedback and some analysis of those personal splits that took place in the race itself. These are my top tips for getting your pacing right. We've all heard runners finish a race and say they started off too quickly, or it got really hard at the end, and that's why pace is important, because if you get your pacing right, you can have a really amazing day and reach all your personal aspirations. But if you get it wrong, the second half, particularly of your run, can be really challenging. That's why the Human Race Pace Series gives you a chance to practice pacing. You don't have to be super fast or super professional to need to know your race pace. It's really important to actually have an understanding of what that pace is in terms of minute mile. And if you know a target race pace, that can help you put together your race pace strategy and plan for the event. So know what target race pace you're aiming for in minutes per mile. It's really important to practice your race pace in training. You don't suddenly turn up on race day and become a different runner. So you need to practice it in training and have an understanding of what it feels like. To learn to listen to your body to get your pace right, you've got to understand your perception of effort, your heart rate, your breathing rate, how much your muscles ache, just how hard or how easy the run feels. So an important aspect of learning to understand your pace is learning to listen to your body and interpret the sensory signals that it sends you when you run at different paces. Your pace right, practice it in training, but also practice it in a race. A race presents a whole host of other different challenges. The weather, running with other people, the course. Calm down, dial into your pace in the race, lock it in, and practice pacing in racing. A feature of great pacemaking is being consistent. Running consistent even splits, that's the same pace per mile or kilometre, is more likely to leave you feeling good and in control at the start, and stronger when the pacing gets harder and the racing gets longer in the final stages of the race. So a great pacing tip is to be consistent with your pacing and run even miles or kilometres. When you get your pacing right, it means you're going to feel better at the end of the race. So be positive with your pacing. It feels much better when you're in the second half of the run. More often than not, that's the hardest part. It feels better to be going past people, to be bang on target time still in the second half of your race than it does to have gone off too hard, too soon, got too excited at the start and experienced blowing up and losing your energy, enthusiasm and motivation in the second part of the race. To really understand your race pace, play with your pace a little bit in training. Don't become a one-pace plodder and just run at the same pace all the time. Instead, mix it up. Now, this is not only good for your fitness and your race pace, but it also really helps you understand the importance of listening to your body. So, in your training, to get your pace right, run at speeds that are faster than your target race pace and slower than your target race pace. Your best results in a race will come when everything is in harmony, and pacing takes time, it takes practice, and it takes patience. So be disciplined, control your pace, learn to master how you feel, and go out have a great race.
I learned mainly that I run too fast, so need to work on pacing to be able to sustain something for a longer distance.
I mainly learned how important it is to let go of your ego a bit and have discipline on yourself, to rein yourself in so you don't get carried away.
I learned that Martin definitely knows his stuff with regards to running and pacing. I learned that my pacing was way off actually. Yeah, I was quite surprised actually how poor my pacing was today. I always thought I was actually quite a good pacer when I was running.